I'll stand there right on the left-hand side.
We're live now, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're still on our August 23rd agenda. Our next agenda item is an action item. This is a request to use Smiths Ferry Drive for logging operations during the Highway 55 closure. Mac, are you coming up? Come on up to Mike and tell us kind of what we're thinking of.
Good morning, I'm Mac LaFay. I'm joined with Jim Osmuth with Evergreen Forest, Luke Brown with Brown Brothers. There's other loggers involved here, but we probably have, between all of our companies, let's call it 6 or 7 different operations, harvesting a lot of tussock moth and so forth above on the other side of Smiths Ferry. And Brown Brothers, they're hauling logs southward Wood Green. So the full closure will have quite an impact on our hauling operations. So we are requesting that we be able to use Smiths Ferry Drive, is that what it's called?
Right.
We'll be able to use Smiths Ferry Drive for a bypass for the remainder of the season. Just to talk kind of some rough numbers, and I can't speak for everybody here, but I think after September, I can see a lot of the activity dying down, but we'll still have some into October, November, and even potentially December. So
And last year, Mac, we just did empties only, is that correct?
that's what we did last year.
And
yeah.
that will work this year as well?
I would like to be able to do loadeds as well.
I just talked to Jeff, and he said as long as they do empties, we can do the same thing as last year. The issue is he's got to get the list to the contractor that's doing the road, and apparently they've done some people shift too, and he's having a hard time making a connection there to get the list to them for their people on the bottom that put up the barricades so they know who can go in there and who
I
can't.
see.
And he'll work on that. He's out this week, not feeling too well, so Jeff is. But I felt like the empties worked great for us. It didn't tear up the roads, and I think you guys did do some dust abatement on Smiths Ferry, so we didn't get any complaints from the locals, as far as I know.
Okay.
And it worked out great. If we could stick with that routine, I think that'll work best for us.
Okay. The only thing that would, just because it's logging, occasionally somebody gets a flat tire, or there's occasionally I'd like to be able to bring a loaded through there, but we would try to keep it to an absolute minimum. That would be a request I would have, and I'm not sure how you or Jeff feels about that. But
Well, I think for, emergency or like a flat tire, that kind of deal, that's kind of acceptable. But if we can keep it to the empties, then that our road stays in good shape and we don't have any complaints from the neighbors, and that
Right.
works best. So
I have talked to Olson. He has some mag chloride's been really hard to come by this year, but he does have some on hand, and that's available for us we'd be able to get that put down here hopefully this week sometime prior to use next week, because we'd like to be able to, if approved, to be able to use it next week.
that's awesome. That's great.
So we'll do the portions where he doesn't have tons of it, but we'll try to hit the real key areas near residences. So, and yeah, if there's additional wear and tear on that road, more than happy to help offset those expenses with the county. So
Well, we got some other roads. Can you offset those too as well?
all of them.
While you're there. So this is an action item. I'd entertain a motion to authorize the use, kind of similar to what we did last year.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I think we probably ought to talk a little bit more about the loaded thing. I mean, it sounds like you guys are interested in doing that. I know that was an issue of the roads last year. Was there a safety concern as far as meeting loaded trucks on that? I mean, would they be going uphill or downhill?
Well, I think too, was UPS and FedEx using it as well? You guys know?
Yes. That's what my understanding is. I knew that the mail, they were doing it. My question, can I ask this?
Absolutely.
Is this gonna be, last year it was unloaded going south. Is that gonna be the same thing this year, or is it gonna be coming overloaded and going?
That's what we were just
Well, that's
talking
what we're
about. I just
trying to
didn't
figure
want
out.
to gloss over that too far since you guys.
Last year,
were making that request.
we just did empties last year, both directions. So
So last year, pretty much all of the operations were on that side of Smiths Ferry
Okay,
going
and now you're
north,
on
either
this-
to New Meadows or to Grangeville. But this year, are you guys, Brown Brothers are operating on Eagle now,
Okay,
so I'm not sure how you can answer that question.
It's going to Emmett, so we would have empties coming back up.
so you could have loaded going over that, one, and then empties, both.
How do you feel about that road for load in terms of, is it feel pretty safe to you, or is it?
I do, I think all the trucks have radios and, they do that day in and day out, so put markers up, mile markers, half markers, whatever it takes, and they just
My
communicate.
concern is meeting like the FedEx or the UPS truck.
That's what I'm wondering, as far as the communication standpoint, is there a way we can work through that? Like they can say there's, a truck coming down right now. I know the last year they were checking in and out periodically. I don't know if they had regular radio.
I don't know, I know that let's see, the guys that are at the road,
Flaggers. I was trying to come up with that
they
too.
would know who's coming and going, and if UPS was trying to get over there, they could say, hey, there is one going over, it's gonna take a little bit longer to get over that road.
Do you have any kind of an idea, like what kind of volume you'd be talking about?
We're talking 6 to 8 trucks. And it wouldn't be all of them, some could get back up through before the highway closes. It just depends on traffic and how the morning goes and whatnot, so.
And even currently for our operations, a lot of our trucks, as past them coming down this morning, a lot of them they're only able to do one trip, so they just get it over. They're traveling in the middle of the night, and then they're already, a lot of them are pulling into Grangeville already and got their load for the day, and they'll haul a local load up there. So we'll try and minimize how many folks we really need to have on that road, just by going as early as we can. But inevitably, there's some that need to get back through. So we appreciate the empties at a minimum. So.
And Mac, did you guys do any mag chloride on the bypass road itself going over the top? Or was it just down along Smiths Ferry Drive along the houses?
To this point, all we've done is we've done along the houses, because that's, crossing the bridge there at Cougar Lodge. But what I was saying is if authorized, we would do additional mag on Smiths Ferry Drive, more on the Round Valley end there, maybe a little bit on the Smiths Ferry end, so that at least we have the residences covered for dust.
Yeah, I think on the Round Valley side would be a good idea. And I don't think we have to worry too much about it getting soft from wet weather until probably end of October, November, or something like that. It just depends, but
That's something we'll monitor, of course.
if it starts getting soft, we got to pull them off.
We'll probably be soft in the woods long before it gets soft down there. So, but that's something we'd obviously monitor. So I would expect our contractors to pull off if it got soft. So.
My feeling is I think we should stick with the empties, and then if you guys get to a point where it's kind of getting tough, get a hold of Jeff, road supervisor, and see what he can look at the conditions and the traffic. And you had your hand up?
Yeah, I'm Jim Wasmuth. I think it's very important for our operations to go up the hill loaded. I have Jerry Icola working at Tripod, and I'll be there about another month. And then I have Mahon.
And those guys go speak at the
Oh,
speaker.
sorry.
I can't hear anything out of the crowd.
Sorry about that, Sherry. That's my fault.
Yeah, I want to say how important it is for us to haul up there loaded if possible, because it's really going to screw us up. And would like to haul up there about a month. And
You know how
then
many trips a day?
the first round will go up the highway. It won't be a problem. The second round, it'll be 10 loads a day loaded.
When we put 10 on there and your guys is 6 or 8, I think we're going to wreck the road.
Yeah, I just want to tell you how important it is. You can't find extra trucks this year because there's a lot of long hauls going on. So I did call the state of Idaho. They have it closed from 10 to 2 because they feel that's the lowest volume of traffic on Highway 55. If they would move that later in the day, it would help tremendously too.
Like what, 11 to 3 or 12 to 2?
Oh, like
4?
3 to 7 or something like that. Well, it's still daylight. But it didn't sound like they were going to do it.
No, because they've already marketed and advertised it for 10 to 2.
Right. But
We asked them that last time and they just refused to move that time frame.
Jim, could I?
Thank you.
I guess one request would be, I mean, maybe we see how, is there any way we could see how it goes with the loadeds and we could work with Jeff on monitoring road conditions? I think we can do it and keep that road in pretty good shape. Again, if there's some problems, then we're, you know where to find us. I mean, we'd be willing to help with repair if needed. But I guess I'm just asking if we could work with
water
Jeff.
it, come back and regrade it and probably maybe even roll it. I know they've been doing a lot of rolling this year, but what's your feeling?
You know, my feeling is we let Jeff make the call on it.
Okay.
You know, if he wants to work with you guys, monitor it for, you know, a week or two and see how it's going. I'm perfectly okay with it. I know that there's a crunch on getting logs up and down right now. There's not as many drivers as there were, and
I appreciate that.
We want to see you guys get what
You're
you need
exactly
done.
right. Yeah.
Sure, a lot more cars now. Holy smoly.
I've never seen anything like it.
I would put on that they've got to be communicating some way on both ends. If they're going up with a load, somebody on the other end needs to know that that's coming at them. So they need to be able to communicate some way with the flaggers.
That's what I was gonna say. Is I think that means we got to have a little better communication with the flaggers. I don't know what their protocol was last year.
Well, they had a list. I think you guys provided a list of who could go up and down there, and the flaggers.
I'm just thinking about as far as like if they're seeing UPS truck coming uphill and there's a loaded truck coming down. Like I said, that's worst case scenario.
Mhm.
Loggers are gonna be talking to each other on the radio, but they don't have communications with the other folks that we're letting through there. So if, you know, the flaggers have radios or something, that's gonna help a ton.
I believe last year there was a pretty good system there where, you know, the flaggers got to know the trucks really well and they had a good system going there. And I would guess that, I mean, the trucks are stopping and talking to the flaggers anyway, so the flagger could radio up to the other end and let them know there's a truck on its way through. I think that would be real doable.
That's all I'm saying as well.
So I'm going to go ahead and basically make a motion that we just renew what we did last year. And then work with Jeff on the loaded parts. It's going to be a flexible thing and it may come and it may go depending on how bad the road gets. So I'll make the motion that we just renew that same as last year.
Work with Jeff on, yeah, like I said, I'm comfortable with that. So that works out.
So you second then?
I'll second it, but I want to make sure that Jeff is working with him on it.
Yeah, and I'll let Jeff know that we're
We'll
going
coordinate
to
with him.
allow loaded trucks too, and he's got to work that out. And I think he can. We still got, what, another 3 weeks before that closes? So it closes right after Labor Day, doesn't it?
I think so, yeah, a couple of weeks.
Couple of weeks, so we got to get on this when I get a hold of him today and make sure that, let him know what we're doing. And he's still trying to, like I say, make connections with the flaggers. Apparently that's been changed or something. So
Oh, okay.
he can't get a hold of them. They're not returning emails or calls, so
Okay.
we'll see how that goes. Okay?
Thank you, commissioners.
Okay,
We appreciate
got a
it.
motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good.
Aye.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
And our next agenda item is a presentation from Road and Bridge, and Mr. McFadden is not here today. He said he was going to send in his update, but we do have an action item, and these are in our packets. They're weed agreements with the city of Cascade and the city of Donley. I think they're just an annual renewal that we do every year. Doug, do you want to wait until 11 to do those? Do you think somebody's going to be here from the city, or can we do it now?
I would recommend that you wait till the time that
Okay.
it's scheduled for, Mr. Chairman.
So then we're going to shut down and we'll see everybody back here at 11 o'clock.